The exact moment dismissive avoidants decide to reach out. Let's dive into a moment that seems almost impossible to predict. The exact moment a dismissive avoidant finally decides to reach out. If you've ever been in a relationship or situationship with a dismissive avoidant, you know their silence feels deafening. Days or even weeks pass, and you're left wondering if they'll ever call or text again. What's fascinating is that their decision to reach out isn't random, and it isn't just about missing you in a sentimental way. It's a mix of emotional triggers, inner conflict, and a surprising shift in their sense of safety. Dismissive avoidants don't live in the emotional world the way many of us do. They prioritize their independence, their need for space, and their sense of control. So when they finally reach out, it's because something deep inside them has shifted, and understanding this process gives you clarity and power. First, let's break down what's happening in their emotional world leading up to that moment. A dismissive avoidant spends a lot of time suppressing emotions. They're skilled at compartmentalizing, at pretending they don't care or that a relationship doesn't affect them. When they distance themselves, it isn't always because they stop liking or loving you. It's often because closeness feels threatening. They've learned to self-soothe by withdrawing, and to them, disappearing is safer than confrontation. While you might be spiraling and feeling rejected, they're often telling themselves they're fine, that they don't need anyone, and that they're better off alone. But here's the truth. Even avoidants can't escape the pull of human connection. They're just experts at delaying that emotional recognition. So what causes the shift? One of the biggest triggers for an avoidant to reach out is the unexpected feeling of emotional safety. This often happens when you stop chasing. If you're constantly reaching out, over-explaining your feelings, or trying to pull them closer, their instinct is to retreat further. They need to feel like their independence isn't being threatened. When you pull back, focus on yourself, and give them space without anger or desperation, something changes in their mind. Suddenly, you no longer feel like a danger to their freedom. This shift can cause an avoidant to feel safe enough to reach out. It's ironic, but with avoidance, the less you do, the more they start to feel your absence in a way that makes them want to come closer. Another moment that often sparks contact is when they feel a pang of genuine missing, not just out of loneliness, but because you've stopped filling their emotional space. Dismissive avoidants often take their partners for granted because they subconsciously expect you to always be there. When you step back, stop overgiving, and pour that energy back into your own life, they feel that change. It's not just that they miss you, it's that they feel your energy has shifted away from them. This creates a sense of curiosity, sometimes even a low-key panic. They start asking themselves, wait, are they really okay without me? This isn't always conscious, but it's a strong motivator. Suddenly, you're not chasing, and that makes them wonder where they stand in your life. For many dismissive avoidants, another key moment is when their life becomes quiet enough for their emotions to catch up with them. Avoidants are masters at distraction. They'll throw themselves into work, hobbies, or even casual relationships just to avoid feeling vulnerable. But emotional suppression has limits. Late at night, when they're alone, or after a stressful week, those walls start to crack. That's when the memory of you, your warmth, your voice, your presence, sneaks in. They remember how safe they felt with you, even if they never said it out loud. And when those feelings become too loud to ignore, they might send that simple "hey" text or suddenly call out of the blue. What seems like a random message often represents hours, even days, of them debating whether or not to reach out. There's also a power shift that happens in their mind when they sense you're genuinely okay without them. Avoidants fear losing themselves in a relationship, but they also fear losing control. If they feel like they're in control of your emotions, they don't feel pressure to reconnect. However, when they sense that you've emotionally detached, not in a manipulative way, but in a truly self-assured, peaceful way, it rattles them. Suddenly, they don't feel as certain about their place in your world. That uncertainty creates a spark of motivation to check in, to see if you're still there, and to subtly reestablish their connection with you. Sometimes a dismissive avoidant reaches out during moments of vulnerability in their own life. A major stressor like a health scare, a career setback, or even loneliness around holidays can trigger their need for comfort. Avoidants don't usually lean on people easily, but if you were once their safe space, you become a natural person to reach out to when life feels overwhelming. This is why their timing often feels confusing. They might go silent for months and then suddenly message you after something stressful happens. It's not always about you. It's about them realizing they need someone who makes them feel grounded. One of the most misunderstood moments is when avoidants reach out because they're curious about your reaction. Even if they're not ready to fully engage emotionally, they might send a text or comment on your post just to gauge where they stand with you. Avoidants thrive on emotional distance, but they also fear total rejection. When they sense you've stopped waiting for them, this curiosity gets the best of them. That, hey, how are you? Text isn't just small talk. It's a way for them to test the waters, to see if you still care, and to reassure themselves that they still have some emotional connection with you. What's important to understand is that avoidants don't reach out impulsively. There's often a long mental process behind that moment. They'll think about it, talk themselves out of it, and then back into it. For them, reaching out feels like a risk. They fear rejection deeply, even if they hide it well. So when you get that text or call, it often represents a significant moment of vulnerability. They might mask it with a casual tone, but it's their way of opening the door a crack to see if it's safe to come closer again. If you're someone who's been waiting for an avoidant to reach out, here's the empowering truth. Their decision often has more to do with how you carry yourself than with anything you say to them. If you're anxious, over-pursuing, or desperate for their attention, they'll pull away to protect themselves. But when you reclaim your energy, rebuild your sense of self-worth, and create a life that doesn't revolve around them, you become magnetic. Avoidants are drawn to people who are grounded and self-assured because it feels safe. They want closeness, but they don't want to feel pressured, and when you stop needing them to validate you, they start feeling drawn back in. At the end of the day, the exact moment a dismissive avoidant reaches out is a reflection of two things: their own emotional world and your energy. They're not wired to chase, but they do feel deeply. Their silence isn't proof that they don't care. It's proof that their fears are louder than their feelings. When those fears calm down, because you've given them space, because life humbled them, or because they feel your absence, they will reach out. But the real power is this: you don't have to wait around for that text to feel whole again. When you master your own emotional world, you'll see their reach out for what it truly is, a sign of their internal shift, not a reflection of your worth. So next time you get that unexpected message from a dismissive avoidant, don't just focus on the words. Pay attention to the timing, the energy, and what it reveals about their growth. That simple hey isn't random. It's a sign that something inside of them finally felt safe enough or afraid enough to break their silence. And whether you choose to respond or not, remember this: your worth doesn't depend on their reach out. The real power is in understanding their patterns so you can protect your heart while deciding what's best for you.